Now approaching the planet, Captain. Dropping out of light speed, Mia said, as in a small burst of blue light, the shuttle that they were flying appeared in space outside of the planet. There, through the front and side views of the shuttle, they stared out at what looked like a barren wasteland of a world. Its surface nearly a blood red, with what looked like brewing storm clouds, but they were not white. No, they were black as coal, with bolts of red shooting through it. Crap! What kind of world is this? One of the crew members Mika brought along with her asked, staring down at the hellish world below. Well, take us down, Mia, Mika said, a serious expression on her face. Everyone, get prepped. Put your Evo masks on. The environment down there is considered uninhabitable. Whenever you're outside, you're going to need to wear an environmental mask so that you can breathe. You're telling me this place isn't even habitable? Well, not anymore, Mia said, as the shuttle began to move its way down into the planet's atmosphere, swooping down through blackened, soot-filled clouds that seemed to leave residue on the ship as it passed through, finally breaching to the world below, what seemed like a never-ending series of buildings, some alit with lights, others blackened and seeming uninhabited. Society seemed to be built in chunks, as if everyone were simply living in these ancient structures, all of them seeming more like factories than living space. Who the heck would ever want to live in some hellscape like this? Obadal said, staring out of the window to his right. Well, truth be told, at least how the stories go, this used to be a beautiful, thriving world. Lush forests, vast oceans, clean, breathable air as far as the eye could see, filled with every type of life that one could imagine. Any truly beautiful world to be filled with. That was until a trader from another world did some tests, finding out that this world was actually ripe with a specific kind of rare material, an exceptionally valuable one. Large portions of the planet were embedded with it. After they discovered that, the government and the corporations of the world began mining the material. After seeing the profits that it yielded, they went money blind. Soon, mining the material became this world's only interest. They threw aside everything else. People's entire lives revolved around the mining of this single substance. You were born a miner, lived a miner, and died a miner. All the while, the ever-expanding factories dug deeper into the world, mining more and more of the material. The industrial equipment they used, poisoning the atmosphere, the oceans, everything. Before they had realized it, the mining had completely destroyed the sustainability of the planet, and yet they couldn't stop because they had already changed everything to revolve around the mining of that substance. By the time they realized they had made a massive mistake, it was already too late. All they could do was just keep mining. They did so for hundreds of years, until finally, the well ran dry. The substance had been entirely mined out of the world, with no more money to be made, and not even a sustainable planet remaining. Those that lived on this world had no choice but to abandon it and seek refuge on some other world. No one's really sure what happened to them after that, whether they found a new place to live, or they all simply got blown up somewhere. No one knows. But sometime after that, criminals running from the law started setting down here on this planet. Since it was basically uninhabitable, most didn't bother checking it, and those that did couldn't scan through the atmosphere to find anyone hiding on the surface. It was a fairly good place to stow away after committing a crime. Eventually, it became so popular for that use that criminals who were in hiding began bumping into each other and making deals and arrangements with one another in order to commit more criminal acts. And thus, Goramon was born. The criminal empire world. A place that's toxic in every sense imaginable, right down to its livability. Fucking hell, Obadal said, still peering out of his window as they passed by one massive chimney stack after another, one factory after another factory, in endless sequence. Barren wasteland of a world with what seemed like a never-ending storm of dust and smoke. Even as their elevation lowered, they could still barely see down to the roads that connected all of it, to see few and far between passing vehicles on the roads, and people walking with environmental masks, tattered leather clothing, and it seemed like everyone he saw had a weapon. Okay, Mia, set her down there, Mika said, pointing towards a large segment of factories that were more brightly lit. There should be a docking bay somewhere around there. And before we leave, remember to turn on the security turret that I had installed. Remember, this is a planet of criminals. We leave this ship without the security systems on, and they will take the hell off with it. And then, we're just stuck here. Yeah, Captain, Mia replied as she approached what appeared like a landing dock. As she gently as she could set the ship down, a small shudder as she landed went through the vessel, as everyone stood up, beginning to affix their masks before opening the back latch. As they did, wind swept in to the shuttle pod, wind filled with dust and smoke. Ugh, it fucking reeks. You got that right, Mia and Obadal said. I thought the Evo mask would filter this crap out. That's their job. Yeah, it is, Mia replied. Hey, don't lose focus, Mika said. The Evo masks filter the air so that it's breathable, but they can't filter out the massive amount of toxins that have made this planet as uninhabitable as it is. And so while the air is still breathable, it's not going to smell fresh as daisies. Remember, keep your heads about you. Keep your hands on your weapons and your eyes peeled. If you get pickpocketed, you'll have no one to blame but yourself. And don't put it past anyone to simply try to kill you and take off with your stuff. It's much faster to simply blast someone's head off and take what they have than try to fight them for it. And here, there really aren't any consequences for it, as long as you're attacking people who aren't part of the established order. And trust me, we're not, Mika said, as she began making her way out of the exit ramp of the shuttle, the rest of her crew members following behind, as the dust and smoke whipped, and they all set foot on the black and red, sandy wasteland, what looked like used to be well-paved streets now covered in dust. But the ever-bright lights of different forms of entertainment seem to litter the streets there. Live girls, XXX, cold drinks, the Euphoria Club, and many other assorted, brightly lit signs shined bright enough to pierce even the smoke and ash-filled air of that planet.